Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking about and making a Pilgrim Flask. Pilgrim Flasks speak to the desire that people have always had to travel and see the world outside of where they live their daily lives. In late antiquity and the early medieval period, people would go on pilgrimage. A pilgrimage is a holy journey in which you go and visit the site where something happened related to the life of a holy person, a saint, an apostle, a prophet, etc. Okay. And there are pilgrimage sites throughout Europe, Africa, Asia, and all over the ancient world. So what would happen is you would travel from your home, a perilous journey. It could possibly take weeks or months to get there. And when you would show up, you would, of course, like we do, want a souvenir. And that's where the pilgrimage flask comes into play. So a pilgrimage flask is a container that they would make at the site, all right, and out of clay. And they would fill it with holy water or holy oil from this site. And then the pilgrim would take it back to home so they can show the other people who did not go on pilgrimage. Okay, so they could have a souvenir and a reminder. The forms of these are pretty similar throughout. And you can see that we've got a neck, we've got some handles, we've got a body. Sometimes we've got a base, sometimes not. But again, these come from all over the ancient world, and they're not limited to just one tradition. So the ones on the screen right now, these are coming from a Christian background. You can see that they've been stamped with text and images that indicate the saint whose site is being visited. Previous to the Christian era, the Romans started making these things. So they had even pagan pilgrimage flasks, and the tradition continued down through Christianity as well. Islam has a similar tradition where you would get a pilgrimage flask from the holy sites. Zoroastrianism is the same in Persia, as well as in India and China and throughout the ancient world. So you can see that the form is very similar. Sometimes they get a little different. So in China, you can see that the form is somewhat different than the Byzantine one, which was small enough to be worn around the neck. But you can see that they all have a neck, handles, and a body. Okay, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be creating our own. So the parts that we're looking for are the neck, kind of shaped like an hourglass, the body with a stamped image on it, and handles. Okay, and we're going to give ours a rounded form as well. So what we're going to do is take some clay, and I'm just going to press it out into a flat form. And then I'm going to roll it. I want it to be about as thick as my pinky. Our piece should be big enough. It's just like that, about as big as our pinky. Our piece should be big enough that we can get 2 4-inch discs cut out of it. So I'm going to take a rib and smooth it, add some water to it, smooth it on both sides. This just gets rid of the cracks. Now I'm going to take a 4-inch circle, cut one out, and then I'm going to cut one out from the other side. Pick up the extra clay, and go ahead and set that aside. Now I'm going to stamp an image onto both discs. And you can use the stamp that you made, or you can use one that you have. I'm taking a paddle to it just to make sure that I get a nice, good, clean image stamped into the clay. So I just want to smooth out those edges, and I want to bend them up. I want to pinch them up so So what I'm doing now is creating the sides of the vessel. So I'm going to take both sides, pinch up the edges about a 1/4 of an inch, and now I'm going to seal them together. So I'm just going to stitch them together. If you want to score them first, that's actually a really, really good idea. With the paddle, I'm going to kind of flatten it out so that the sides have a width to them. They have a depth. I'm going to smooth it, get it wet, and smooth it out with the rib so I hide those seams. Just want to be careful when you're handling this that you're not too rough with it, because we don't want to get rid of the stamped impression or image. Okay, so you can see how thick it is, and of course it is hollow on the inside. Now what I'm going to do is cut the opening for the neck. We've got to have a place for the liquid to go inside. So I'm going to just cut it open and make sure that it's all smooth. Now I'm going to roll out a coil. So just like we did before, I'm going to roll a coil, and this is going to be for the neck. My coil is going to be, again, about the size of my pinky. So I'm going to score that, add some water to it. And now I'm going to add 3 coils on top of each other to build the neck. I want this to be a nice size. So 3 coils is good. 2 is still a little small. I want to make sure I stitch them together on the inside and the outside. So if you need a little tool to stitch it on the inside, go ahead and grab one. But they should be nice and attached. I'm going to go ahead and add that 3rd coil onto the top. Then I'm going to stitch that all together too. So again, we want to make this as smooth as possible. Now I'm going to take a coil, and I'm actually going to, off camera, I'm going to flatten it out with my paddle just a little bit so that I can make, so it's easier to grab. I want those handles to match each other, so I stack them on top of each other. Use a bit of a rib to help smooth out the neck. And I want to add a little decorative edge to that neck. It felt a little boring without it, so I'm going to take some of that flattened coil and attach it to the top. Meanwhile, my handles are firming up. They're getting leather hard, so then they won't flop when I attach them. Go ahead and score both sides then, so I can attach those handles and continue to smooth the whole thing out. The placement of the handles is really up to you. I'm attaching mine to the base of the neck and to the side. If you want to vary that a little bit, you go right ahead. Again, I want to make sure that it's all nice and attached really, really well. And here's the final piece once it's been glazed.